95.9 The Rad. G&R rocks on the Rad Race. Hey, we're hanging in the studio with some of the folks who are going to be at the Men's Expo. It's Ryan Keely of RyanKeely.com and Victoria Zdrok of Penthouse and Planet
Victoria.
The
one and only, the hottest place in cyberspace.
You gotta like that. I love the catchphrase. The hottest place in cyberspace.
I coined it like 12 years ago, the inception of the internet.
I love it.
You always find great women to bring to our Men's Expo, but Ryan, I think you are my favorite, hands down.
Yeah.
I would never let you guys down.
I'm so honored that Victoria suggested me. I was so thrilled to get the phone call. I'm beyond excited for this weekend.
It should be very, very cool. Saturday afternoon, you can stop by, get some signed, and I assume take a photo or something like that.
Oh, absolutely, and we're going to do some contests like last time, right?
Yeah.
We'll have some great contests and some really great giveaways.
It's a lot of fun. Kicks off at 1 at Convention Hall in Asbury Park.
What's coming up in Ryan Keely's life? What's she up to these days?
Well, my movie Autopilot just came out. It's the first movie that I ever was on the cover of.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, I'm very excited. I think it's been my 13th DVD release. I have not done a lot of movies. I'm still kind of baby new.
She's young. She's very young.
I'm not young. I'm just young in the industry.
She's very photogenic.
Wow, wow. And this is the first one you've been on the cover
First
of?
one I've been on the cover. I've been in several movies, but this is my first cover movie. And it comes out from a company that's actually Philadelphia-based. So you got to give the East Coast people some love. Autopilot, you can buy it everywhere now. And
you only do movies with women, right?
Solo and Go Girl. I do a lot of masturbation. And what else is going on with me? I've got this weekend, we've got the wonderful Men's Expo, and then Super Bowl the next weekend, and then I'm going out to LA to shoot for Danny.com and for my website, and
we're going to do a shoot together.
We're so going to shoot together.
Yeah.
Maybe
we'll get some of this lingerie from Ling.
Yes.
This weekend.
Do you have a boyfriend?
Back up this train.
Nothing like that. You're just free-spirited. Let's go, honey.
I mean, I don't really have time to date is the problem. I mean, I traveled 18 days out of January and February. I think I'm going to be traveling
always on the road, yeah.
pretty much about the same between the feature dancing, the shooting on the West Coast.
Right.
You know, my family.
Do you think a guy could keep up with you?
You know, many have tried. It usually lasts for about 6 months, and then finally they realize that my career at this point will come first. And, you know, at the first 3 months, it's so supportive, and they love what I do, and they're so proud of you.
And they try to control you.
And then
I don't want you to do this anymore.
Yeah, and then they're like, oh, well, you know, is this what you want to be doing with your life? You know, how do you care about how people perceive you? And I'm like, I've worked in this industry for 7 years, and I've only been in front of the camera for 3 of that. So I think I've dealt with that issue of, you know, what other people think, how my family's reacted. You know, what the end game is going to be, you know, 10, 20 years down the road when I have kids, when I'm raising a family and I'm still, modeling. We know what the issues is, and then they get, shocked and disgusted and oh, you don't want to quit it all and be my little housewife? And I'm like, no, I've got a career. I get paid to have sex with beautiful women and take my clothes off and masturbate and travel around the world, and I feature dance. You know, I put on these amazing shows all over the country.
Where do I get an application for that job? Good grief.
Well,
so all the single guys out there, come on over.
Can you keep up?
If you can handle Ryan.
Yeah.
That is great.
Once they hit the judgment train, though, it sounds like you're ready to go.
Oh, yeah. No, it's you either, you know, love me or leave me.
Yeah. What's that to me? Because if I was ever in, girl-on-girl action, I'd be all about it, you know?
Well, that's the thing is that, you know, it's not something that I do in my bedroom. I'm not into threesomes, oddly enough.
Right.
Well, if I'm dating someone, I don't believe threesomes belong in a relationship.
Nice.
Because it screws with the relationship.
It does. It screws with the relationship. There's, you know, group sex when I'm single. Hell yes. Oh, heck yes.
Hell it's a weird line we have.
It is a very hard one. I always, you know, people ask me how do I do it, and I always say, you know what, you got to be in a very secure relationship first. You have to have a lot of trust, and it has to be usually, you know, a relationship that's been sort of tested some time. It can't be well, we just met, let's have a threesome.
Right.
So there's a lot of variables that are involved. You got to discuss the rules first and what you're comfortable with, and it's not so easy. And I've seen a lot of relationships break up over introducing other partners in the relationship.
Do you think guys handle it worse than women when it gets to the point of the threesome really isn't working anymore? You know.
Yeah, I've seen usually guys, you know, what happens is a guy would, you know, either he pays attention to the new girl and completely forgets about his partner, or he gets insecure because the girls get it on and, oh, I'm not part of the action, I thought it was all about me. So yes, a lot of you have to discuss the ground rules beforehand and really have a good communication before you do it. It's very difficult.
Just not do it. I don't know.
Right. Why enter it if you think it's going to ruin it?
It's such a fine line. And actually, what I usually, you know, as we always get asked, you know, the threesome question, go into couples therapy before and after. Work out those relationship issues before you even get in the bedroom. Like, if you're talking to, you know, an objective third party who's trained to deal with a relationship, yeah, that's a good idea. If you're willing to risk your relationship on a threesome,
and I've seen a lot
spend some time with a counselor, a couples counselor first and after.
It's not an easy matter.
No, it's not.
And sometimes I actually think that sometimes maybe doing it with another couple is easier because then it's threesomes. You know, they're triangles, and the swingers I see being more stable because then everybody's happy and everybody gets what. But the threesomes can be very tricky because there's always someone who's feeling left out of the equation. You know?
Yeah, 3 is not good. 4, 5, or more.
Yes.
Then there's enough to go around.
And there's always someone to go get drinks.
Yes.
You know? It's always going to be an odd number, I feel. You know?
We need more condoms and lube.
Right. Be right back. You know, you can always send a runner. I like that.
Ryan Keely and Victoria Zdrok are in the studio with us. They're at the Men's Expo on Saturday afternoon, 1 o'clock, at Asbury Park Convention Hall.
We know you're going to be there. And they're here with us now.
There's like this storyline to Ryan's website. How much of the fantasy world do you enjoy? Are you into
fantasy?
Are you into role
Have we
playing?
talked about how much I like to masturbate? Of course I like fantasy. That's what it's all about.
Comic book fan? I see it.
Yeah,
I see it.
I'm living the dream.
But for you, then, is it not fantasy? Is it real?
Yes and no. I mean, do I wake up every morning and I'm like, oh my gosh, my life is a fantasy. I can't believe all these wonderful things that I get to do. But am I still the same person I've always been? Yes.
Yeah.
I actually heard one of your fantasies was something about a Russian kidnapper or something.
Oh my gosh, I can't remember where I said that.
Gosh, is that what it was?
Did you read about her? Did you do some research?
You're damn right I did. That's probably the only thing I studied.
I could play the KGB.
Yeah.
Russian after all.
Wasn't it a Russian kidnapper?
Yes, and
the Russian KGB.
Yes. I think I was going through a phase where I was looking at a lot of Tom of Finland drawings, and all I wanted was like this big cartoonized, like, you know, beast of a man. And so I always thought, I love the Russian accent. I think it's so erotic. Which is weird, you know, but I'm like, the Russian accent is a panty dropper for me. I'm like, oh. And then the broad shoulders, someone who's bigger than me. I'm a tall girl, so I had this fantasy about some like big giant Russian man being like, I'm gonna take you, little lady.
Strong like bull.
Violating in every way possible.
I'm happy.
So
never watches.
all the big guys come on over. Expo. The bigger the better.
Especially if you have a Russian accent, apparently.
That's just one of my many fantasies. That's one of my many fantasies, and that's just the one that they asked me about that day. And I think that's what I was into that day. I was like, I just wanted to be like thrown around and made to feel like a little girl.
Wow.